It was the time of winter season. I go to the gym almost every day with my best friend. We got to the gym in evening because there are less people in that time. We both are in 20s. One evening we were doing our usual workout, lifting weights and chatting between sets. It was quieter than usual, with just a few people scattered around the room. As we moved to the leg press machine, I noticed a gym bag sitting on the floor by one of the benches. It was strange because I hadn't seen anyone use that bench for at least 20 minutes. "Whose bag do you think that is?" I asked my friend. He shrugged.
Maybe someone forgot it.
But the thing is, it wasn't in a corner. It was placed right in the middle of the workout area, almost like someone wanted us to notice it. We ignored it and continued with our sets, but the bag kept catching my eye. After a few minutes, I couldn't shake the curiosity. I walked over to it. The bag was zipped shut, and there was no name tag or anything.
"Leave it, man,"
my friend said, but I had this weird feeling in the pit of my stomach. I nudged it with my foot, and that's when things got weird. The bag moved, not like I pushed it, but like something inside it shifted on its own. We both froze, staring at it. "Did you see that?" I asked. My friend nodded, his face pale.
"It's probably just clothes settling,"
he suggested, but he didn't sound convinced. Still, something about the whole thing felt wrong. The gym was silent now, almost too silent. Even the hum of the machines seemed to fade. I backed away from the bag, and we tried to continue our workout, but every few minutes one of us would glance back at it. Finally, my friend said,
"Let's just check it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?"
I hesitated, but then we both crouched down next to the bag. I slowly unzipped it, just enough to peek inside. At first, all I saw was some gym clothes, a towel, and a water bottle. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding.
"See, nothing,"
my friend said, relieved. But as I zipped it back up, we heard a faint rustling sound. We both stared at the bag again. This time the zipper started moving on its own, slowly, as if someone inside the bag was trying to get out. My heart pounded in my chest. We both jumped back. Suddenly the gym lights flickered and went out for a second. When they came back on, the bag was gone. We looked at each other, wide-eyed. The gym was empty now. Even the other people had disappeared without us noticing. We didn't stick around to figure out what had happened. We grabbed our stuff and ran out, not looking back. To this day, we never spoke about that gym bag again. But every time I go to the gym, I can't help but glance around, just in case it shows up again. It was a typical evening at the gym, and I was finishing up a workout when I decided to hit the locker room for a quick shower. The locker room was almost empty, except for one guy sitting a few lockers down from mine. He was wearing a hoodie, head down, and hadn't said a word since I came in. Something about his presence made me feel uneasy, but I shrugged it off. People keep to themselves at the gym all the time. I tossed my gym bag on the bench, opened my locker, and started undressing. As I did, I noticed the guy shift in his seat slightly, but he didn't look at me. His movements were stiff, almost unnatural, like he was forcing himself to stay still. I tried to ignore it and headed to the shower. The locker room was quiet, the only sound coming from the water hitting the tiles. But halfway through my shower, I heard a noise, a soft scraping sound, like something dragging across the floor. I paused, turning off the water to listen. It stopped. I told myself it was nothing, just my imagination. As I finished up and stepped out of the shower, I saw him again, standing at the far end of the locker room, his back to me. He was still wearing the hoodie, but now it was pulled up, hiding his face completely. He wasn't moving, just standing there, facing the wall. "Hey man, you okay?" I called out. No answer. I quickly dried off, keeping an eye on him the whole time. He didn't move, didn't say a word. The atmosphere felt thick, like something was pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. My hands were shaking as I pulled on my clothes, every muscle in my body screaming at me to leave. But I couldn't shake the feeling that he was watching me, even though I couldn't see his face. As I zipped up my bag, I heard that scraping sound again, but this time it was louder, closer. I turned around, and he was gone. The locker room was empty. I grabbed my stuff and practically ran out of there. As I passed by the front desk, I told the gym staff about the guy. They gave me a confused look and said,
"No one else has been in the locker room for the past hour."
I left the gym that night with an eerie chill running down my spine. I never saw that guy again, but sometimes, in the quietest moments, I hear that scraping sound, and I remember the way he just stood there, like he was waiting for something or someone. I had been going to the gym for a few months when I decided to sign up with a personal trainer to help push my workouts to the next level. He was a friendly guy, always full of energy and encouragement. For weeks, we met 3 times a week, and I felt like I was making real progress. But then, about a month in, things started to change. He seemed more distracted during our sessions, his eyes constantly darting around the room like he is afraid of something. I asked if he was okay, and he would always brush it off with a smile, saying everything was fine. One day, during a session, he suddenly stopped in the middle of a set, his face pale and sweating.
"I need to go,"
he said abruptly, and before I could ask what was wrong, he grabbed his things and rushed out of the gym. I didn't see him for a few days after that. I asked around, and one of the other trainers mentioned that he had been admitted to the hospital. Apparently, he'd collapsed at home after our last session. The doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. His body seemed fine, but mentally, he wasn't there. He kept talking about something that was following him. Curious and concerned, I went to visit him at the hospital. When I arrived, he was lying in bed, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. I asked him what had happened, and in a low, shaky voice, he told me about the gym.
"There's something there. I don't know what it is, but I feel it every time we work out. It's always watching, waiting. No, you don't understand. It's real. I can't sleep anymore. I keep seeing it. In the mirrors, in the corners."
He started breathing heavily, clutching his chest. Nurses rushed in, and I was ushered out of the room. I never saw him again. A week later, I heard he had been transferred to a psychiatric ward. I still go to the gym, but every now and then I catch a glimpse of something in the mirrors, something that moves just out of the corner of my eye, and I can't help but wonder if whatever he saw is still there, lurking, waiting for someone else to notice it.